Welcome to the Scripture Meditations channel, Logical Love. And we're going to be continue our reading in chapter 12 of Luke. And we haven't really quite finished Job yet. I've basically, I'll put the recommended reading in Job in the description below. But we have kind of slowed things down because we have been trying to navigate and get through Luke. Now, I had a little bit of an issue with that as well in the book of Acts, because Luke is a very detailed writer. The purpose of Luke, they have what's called the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And the purpose of Luke was really drawing from, it would seem, testimony that we see in Matthew and we see in Mark, but Luke went into greater detail and made it very important that it is in chronological order as it happened, and also mentioned certain historical references. So Luke was doing is, this is real. This really happened. This is an eyewitness account. And I'm going to give you details about it to validate that this is a man that was in the world. And sometimes people want to say he doesn't exist, but if you really look at the type of analysis that we would have to go through to prove the existence of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, for example, there's evidences that he does exist. There is some secular reference to him. Understand that he was such a radical in a sense, although he was really just what it is to be a person, what it is to be in the divine organic design, according to how the Father said, "Let us make man in our image." He was actually the image of life itself, but because of that, he wasn't the normal son of Adam person who was involved in the way that seemed right to a man, but the end is death. So he was abnormal to what was already, he was well, and he was amongst people that were sick. He said, I came for the sick that need a physician. So he was a physician amongst the sick, and so it seemed like he was radical in that sense, because everyone was used to everyone's sickness, which is the mind of man. The mind, the only devil out there is really the mind of man. And so he was the truth. He walked in the truth, lived the truth, and was the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So Luke chapter 12, and I am doing these vlogs not to start a cult, not to say we have a new religion. We have a better religion now. We have a better spirituality. We know more about the Bible. We have a better understanding of the Bible. All of that is religion. All of that is spirituality and religion that constantly is feeding us the idea that there's something better to know. And if you get in my group, or get in my label of what my group is, or you get into our this and that, then you're going to really get the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. The only truth you're going to get is what's in you, not what somebody else teaches you. Now, you might get a confirmation. Somebody might say something that confirms what's in you, but the only thing that will be part of you, that will make you feel free, the only truth that makes you free is the truth you know. And the only way you know is in your very own spirit, the very essence of your own being, that has an ear to hear and an eye to see the truth. And so that is where we're at. Anyway, I wanted to mention that I'm doing these readings. I'm reading the Echoes of Eden, book 1. And I'm also just begun the book, and I think we might do this read some of this later today, Trusting the Witness Within. All right? So we've got a lot going on. I'm also considering, I was born on Thursday, in church on Sunday. And I've had a journey where I even put the Bible down for some years, and I had some years where I researched it for thousands of hours in a very short, spent thousands of hours, some 4,000 hours or something. I figured in the course of about a year or something. So a lot of research at times. I put it down for a while, but it came back to me. The reality of the scriptures came back to me after I laid it down, and when I laid it down. Some years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. I laid it down for a couple of years. When I did that, or maybe less than that, 7 years ago now, and for a couple of years, something along that line, when I did that, I put it down for good. That was it. The only thing I allowed in my heart was I started to allow some understanding again come back to me in relation to Jesus, the Master. But other than that, and so it came back to me, came back alive, and it was because of a living truth within my spirit, not because of a religion that told me I had to go back to it or anything else. I didn't go to a meeting. I didn't, go to an altar call for being backslidden. The scriptures came alive in my spirit again, almost overnight. It's quite a story. It's pretty miraculous. So, through the process of things, I've done some live streams, and then I started meditating again in the scriptures, and now I'm doing vlogs regarding these meditations. And down the road, I'm considering maybe opening a school where we can start to look at why it is there's so much religion out there, why the minefield of religion even exists, and how can we get into the truth of the matter. Not something better, because the truth is the truth. Reality is not in opposition to anything. It's just reality. All right. So we're in verse 41 and in Luke chapter 12. And Kepha said, Master, do you speak this analogy only to us or also to all? The Master said, Who then is the faithful and prudent steward whom the Master will set over his household to give everyone the portion of grain in the proper season? Happy is the servant whom the master, having come, finds so doing. Truly I say to you that he will set him over all his possessions. But if that servant says in his heart, My master delays to come, and begins to beat the servant boys and the servant girls, who also to eat and to drink and to be drunk, the master of the servant will come on a day in which he does not look for him, and in an hour that he does not know, and he will cut him in pieces, and will put his portion with the unfaithful. And the servant who has known his master's will, and has not prepared or done according to his will be beaten with many stripes. But he who has not known, yet has done things worthy of wounds, will be beaten with few. And everyone to whom much was given, much will be required from him, and everyone to whom they entrusted much, more abundantly they will ask of him. Fire I came to cast on the earth, and what if I wish it were already kindled? But I have an immersion to be immersed with, and how I am pressed until it is completed. Do you think that I came to give peace in the earth? No, I say to you, but rather division. For from now on there will be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. They will be divided. A father against a son against a father, a mother against a daughter, and a daughter against a mother, a mother-in-law against a daughter-in-law, and a daughter-in-law against a mother-in-law. And he also said to the crowds, When you see the cloud rising in the west, you immediately say, A rain shower comes. And it is so. And when there is a south wind blowing, you say that there will be heat, and it is. Hypocrites, you have known how to interpret the face of the earth and of the heaven, but this present time, how have you not known how to interpret it? And why also do you not judge of yourselves what is aligned? For as you are going away with your opponent to see the ruler on the way, be diligent and be released from him. Otherwise he might drag you to the judge, and the judge will hand you over to the officer, and the officer will throw you into prison. And I say to you, you will not come out from that place until you give back even the last very small coin. Now, to help us understand what I just read. This is very cultural. Understand something that was happening here at the time. We have to take ourselves out of our kind of self-centered bubble, pull ourselves out for a minute, and go to the context of what was happening here. There was about to be a shift. The testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. That's in the book of Revelation. This is also true in this moment. The Master is describing by the same spirit of prophecy, which testified of himself, of being the Christ, which is a testimony that goes along with being Christ. In the spirit of prophecy, he saw what was happening, and he made a very severe story about it. And then he talked about it in a more literal context. In other words, people were phasing out of religion, the Jewish religion, into followers of the way or of the Christ. And there was a transition that was going to cause some great division and great persecution of one another. And so that's historically correct, but in the moment, in a spirit of prophecy, he was saying, hey, I'm not trying to bring peace to the religious status quo. I'm challenging the status quo. And it's going to create issues. And this is true today, isn't it? Don't we see that in politics and religion today as well? Don't we see that in some of the world powers or lack of powers that still threaten other nations because of religious reasons and all these divisions? Yes. So same as in his day as well. Okay. So we finally finished chapter 12 in Luke. We're going to carry on next time. Well, bye.